Keep it real way. Keep it real, damn. Keep it real and BSL. Let's get into this video. And for today's video, we're going to be talking about if you really care about who you're becoming in life. Now, listen, I know a lot of us are in that period where we're either coasting through life, which is pretty much we have no plan, no intentions of making a change, and our effort is pretty much the same. Like, we might, when we get bored, we don't use it as an opportunity to really grow. We use that as an opportunity to get distracted by maybe our phones, maybe a game, maybe a YouTube video, maybe a Twitter, maybe a doom scroll. And instead of doing that, we could be doing something to get us more knowledge so we can understand what we want to be in our life, right? Right. So, one of the things that I realize is the people that you hang around are very important because the people you hang around, you will do certain things almost like a mimic. Like you guys feed off of each other. If every one of you guys are silent and on your guys' phones, then it makes sense that when you look up and everything's like boring, so everyone's on their phones, you just instinctively get on your phone, right? Instead of realizing, like, dang, this is a boring setting. We're not doing anything. I could really be doing A, B, and C, which could be putting me in better situations for the future. That's why in that video, I make sure to tell you it really matters about who you surround yourself with. That's why you might go through stages of leaving your friends or backing away from your friends, creating that space and trying to find kind of new friends. And it leads to a time of solidarity, or you're just alone a lot because you realize the people that you left, your friend group, your old friend group, aren't people that you can really grow with. And obviously, you don't want to force them into becoming something that they don't want to become. Whoever, everyone has control of their own life, you know what I'm saying? Free will type shit. But the thing about free will is to really take free will for what it is. You can't make any excuses. You have to take full responsibility, which is something a lot of people just don't do. Even I have troubles as I'm saying this, I have troubles taking responsibility sometimes of everything that comes my way. No if, ands, or buts. And sometimes I don't put as much effort into things that I know I should, and I self-reflect and realize it, and it's a little bit too late. But that's why you have to reflect. That's why you have to understand the mistakes that you make, the trial and errors, so then you can grow off of the pain, suffering, or mistakes that you make type shit. So why I asked, do you care about who you're becoming, is because you have to be aware of it. If you're not aware of who you want to be, then of course you don't have a direction, right? So you can't move purposefully if you don't have a direction. So you might ask a question, I don't know who I'm going to become. Now listen, if you've ever looked up to someone, right? If you have any role models in your life. Now, role models doesn't have to be people in your actual life because we have the internet, which means you can find people online that you look up to or admire because they have a certain level of knowledge in whatever field it is. Maybe you want to be a mathematician and somebody who is very, exquisite in mathematics you look at and you're like, dang, I admire how smart he is. He's a wise person. You can really tell if someone is smart, bro. We all know people when they talk, we're like, dang, this man's spitting. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it just hits you. It's like, dang, I ain't know you were this smart, my boy. You've been silent in the corner for a minute, worried about your own things. And that's, you know what I'm saying? Then those chains start, connecting. But find someone who you admire again. And when you find someone you admire or look up to, right, that's outside of yourself, then you start to dissect them, understand how they got to the point that they got to. Was it through hard work? Was it through connections? Was it through their friends? What lessons did they learn and preach out to the world? Because like Kobe, for example, if you want to be a big basketball player, right? We're going to go pro in the NBA. Understanding and dissecting Kobe's podcast is one of the one tickets easiest things you can do to help with like that direction, because now you're moving more purposefully. What did Kobe do? Someone who wasn't necessarily special in like his build or his hand size, what did he do in order to make up that difference? How hard did he have to work? How many hours did he put in? What did he eat? How did he sleep? What workouts did he do? How many workouts did he do a day? Certain things like that. And once you structure your life or use some of those things that you've learned from these people you admire, then you can start taking it in and making it into your own, right? Making it into your foundation. Now, if you don't know who you are as a person, it can get a little messy. It can get a little messy because you might take that information or what they have and just kind of copy it, copy and paste, and learn through experience, which is the best teacher. So it's not necessarily bad. But once you do this with enough people, you start to then have like an ego, right? Because now you're strong enough, you have a foundation, and you kind of just are like in this state where you think you know a lot because you're better and stronger than you were previously. Now, this is going to take a minute, but this is a process. Then once you get that ego, you know what I'm saying? I'm really him, I'm really him. Or maybe you stay humble, but still really, you know what I'm saying, understand, like, you know what I'm saying, I'm him, but I only tell myself. Then you start to get the ego. And once you have the ego, then you understand that what is you're built from isn't really you. Like, what do you want to do specifically and who you want to become? So even on the mission of trying to figure out who you want to become, you have to have knowledge. And there's so much knowledge out in the world. You can go the religious route, the Bible, like religion is one of the best ways, not from my experience, but from my understanding, is one of the best ways to get a sturdy foundation, because that those books that they give you are straight lessons that can give you knowledge from any point of time, right? Like you can always look back at it and be like, oh, you can have an actual example written down and use it to represent who you want to become. So if I want to become a very kind person, and then I realize in whatever book or whoever I'm admiring is a very kind person. Like I want that level of kindness, or I want to be more kind than him, or I want a piece of how kind he is. Then I'm like, okay, what am I lacking? What do I do that I want to change to show I'm a kind person, right? And not to show the world necessarily, but to show yourself, right? You don't have to prove anything to the world, but you do have to prove things to yourself. If you ask yourself or say to yourself, oh, I'm a kind person, then at some point you're going to ask yourself consciously or unconsciously, what have I done in my life, or what have I done now in the last hour, in the last day, or today? What did I do to show myself or remind myself that I am a kind person? You have to live out who you want to become. If you don't, then you're just spouting false beliefs. Like, I'm a kind person, but you do nothing to show that. You don't represent that in your life. You're almost just, you're saying it just to say it. You have to live out the words you want to say. That's also why it is very hard to become somebody, to become who you are, because becoming who you are is a process that will result in you being that person, right? First, it's becoming, oh, I want to become this. But then you want to be that person. Like, I don't want to become Stephen Lewis. You know what I'm saying? I want to be Stephen Lewis. And if I am, if I'm being Stephen Lewis, if I'm being kind, if I'm being authentic, that means no matter the circumstance, I am going to be kind. I am going to be authentic. And that's hard to do because when people treat you wrong or treat you dirty, and you have to still be whatever you want to represent, that's a time where you're tested, and that can make or break who you are. And if that makes or breaks who you are, then you'll start to almost despise yourself because you can't even stand on yourself. You're not even authentic to yourself. Oh, I want to be kind, but then the next action you do shows that you're not a kind person. So how can you even trust yourself when you can't even trust your words? Or how can you trust others when you can't trust yourself? You saying one thing, but you are literally seeing yourself do another thing. You're literally lying to yourself, right? And the most important thing about this and why it's hard to do is because you can never lie to yourself. You see everything you do. And again, if I want to be a calm person and I'm like, oh, this is what I want to be, this is what I strive to be because of a for some this is what I strive to be because my mom or someone I admire is very kind. Then now you have to go through the suffering of whatever it takes to be that thing. And I love the example of like the tree. And it's like a tree is a tree. It is nothing else more, nothing else less. A tree isn't trying to become a tree, it literally is a tree. Like to be a tree is the example of to be kind because no matter what you try and do to a tree, it will always be a tree. No matter what you're trying to do to me, I will always be kind. That is the similarities in me and a tree. Is that no matter what we do, our first instincts and what we will show not only to ourselves but the world is that kindness. Is for me the kindness, for the tree, it is being a tree. So, without that further ado, have a great day. Peace.